Cardiff Hill. And there, just near this widow Douglas's home, Injun Joe and his accomplice are trying to find a place to hide the treasure, a new place to hide the treasure. And along with that, they are planning something. And what is it? Now, Injun Joe is planning to mutilate Widow Douglas, to kill her for wealth. He needs widow's wealth. He knows that she stays all alone there on Cardiff Hill, in that bungalow. And Injun Joe feels that he will be able to kill her easily and get all her wealth. This plan of Injun Joe is overheard by Huckleberry Finn. He's hiding behind the trees and listening to these people planning something. Immediately he rushes to the town, talk about this plan to widow's sons and some Mr. Jones, and tell them that this is going to happen there and they should reach to help that widow. And soon, quite a few people from the town rushed to Cardiff Hill to help Widow Douglas, and they manage to save her. And Injun Joe escapes from there once again. But then the best thing that happens is, by the efforts of Huckleberry Finn, the widow's life is saved. She is not hurt by Injun in any way. And this creates a soft corner in the heart of the widow for Huckleberry Finn. She decides, and by the time, during this whole tussle going on, when they are trying to save the widow, at that time Huck gets hurt a little, and even because of the fear that he has in his mind of Injun Joe, he falls sick. He has fever. And thus, Widow Douglas decides to nurse her, to take care of her. She takes care, not only that, she even decides to take care of her education. Whatever he wants to study, she's ready to sponsor his education. This happens with Huckleberry Finn there, and see there are parallel stories going on of Huck on one side and of Tom on the other side. And we know that Tom has managed to, on the other side, we know that Tom has managed to win the heart of Becky Thatcher. Now what happens, that Becky Thatcher plans a school picnic, and Becky and Tom and some other friends go on a picnic near McDowell's cake, that is McDouglas cake. Near that cave, they are there for the picnic, and Becky and Tom wish to spend some time in isolation and privacy. They want to talk to each other, and as they need their private time, they decide to enter the cave and sit there. And that's the biggest mistake they make, because somehow the caves, there's a slab rock which falls, and the cave somehow shuts down, and they are trapped in the cave. Now Becky and Tom, as they are together, it's good for Becky that she's not all alone, and even for Tom, because he has the support of Becky there inside, but now they really need to come out of the cave. After the picnic gets over and children start moving towards the town, Suddenly they find that Becky and Tom are missing. And the search begins. Many of them, Becky's father, the judge, and other people, all of them start searching for Becky and Tom. When they reach near the cave, inside, Becky and Tom can hear the footsteps of the people coming around. They try to shout and say that we are here, but they are not heard outside. Because the rock is too big and their voice is not audible outside. And the search goes on, and finally, by the efforts of Becky and Tom, they try to find a way out of the cave. But during that process, inside the cave, remember, Injun Joe had gone to Widow Douglas's house to kill her. From there, he took his treasure and he came to this cave to hide his treasure there. Now, inside the cave, Becky and Tom are in search of the way to come out, and they find Injun Joe inside, parallelly on the other path of that cave. They hear someone walking, and Tom finds Injun Joe inside. He tries to avoid Injun, and very luckily, he gets away out of the cave, and Tom and Becky come out safely. Everybody is very happy. But Tom and Becky both fall sick because of all the fear they face inside the cave. Both fall sick. Tom recovers faster, but Becky takes time to recover. And here, Injun Joe is inside the cave, which Tom knows. And as I said, Tom has transformed as a person throughout the story. Earlier, he was just a mischief monger. He was always seen playing pranks. He was not worried about anyone's emotions or feelings or care. And now, there were two incidents where you saw Tom changing. First one was when we saw Tom saving Muff Potter from the charges of Dr. Robinson's murder. And the second time we see Tom changing is when he knows that Injun Joe might hurt him, when he knows that he might kill him. But still, he tells the people in the town that Injun Joe is in the cave and he must be saved. People try to remove the slab and try to save Injun Joe. But then by the time he's dead. He is dead inside the cave. It is seen that he might have made efforts to come out of the cave, but he has failed to do that. And now, as Injun Joe is dead, the Tom and Huckleberry Finn are once again, they feel happy that now they are not worried at all now that Injun Joe might hurt them. But then, after getting recovered from their sickness, both the boys once again rush to find out the treasure which was hidden by Injun Joe in the cave. And they find the box of gold coins and silver coins there. It is worth $12,000. And the treasure is worth $12,000. They are very happy to have such big fortune for them. They invest it for their future and once again start their life as they used to be earlier, roaming around, playing pranks and enjoying life. Huckleberry Finn Widow Douglas makes all efforts to make him civilized. to educate him, to give him proper grooming that child into a good human being. But somehow she fails. Tom is as such. Aunt Polly has made all efforts all her life to change him, but is unable to. Similarly, Huckleberry Finn also. He doesn't change much. Although we cannot say that they are bad boys or they're evil, but then yes, they're grey characters with good and bad both. Bad a little more prominent maybe, good a little subdued. But then yes, both of them be together and make their band of robbers. They enjoy life as they used to be, and they are not interested in becoming good boys, putting into inverted commas. And this is the way the adventures of Tom Sawyer go on and on and on. This novel, as I've discussed the story in brief, it's a big novel actually. I've tried to discuss the whole story in brief for you. And you have to remember certain instances which I have discussed. We all know, whenever we write whenever we study something, it is definitely about knowledge, about knowing the story, about knowing certain good books, about reading the stories of good authors. But an important thing which is there in our mind is examination, very obviously. And from the examination point of view, we need to keep in mind that in subject elective 2 English, there's a theme-based question which can be asked from this novel, where you're supposed to write the whole story in brief maybe. And another thing which is found in this particular type of question paper, elective 2 question paper, would be short notes, and that too of main characters. Now, as far as the theme-based question is concerned, if you go through whatever I told you, the whole story, if you can remember that and write it down, you'll be able to write the whole answer completely and get enough content for it. And as far as the characters are concerned, the important characters that are asked in the examination are Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, Injun Joe, and Becky Thatcher. Becky Thatcher, yes, but then mainly Injun Joe, Huckleberry Finn, and Tom Sawyer. So, once again, I'll try to, before I end up everything, I will try to remind you of certain major instances which you are supposed to remember. Number 1, Tom's whitewashing of fence, how he manages to bring his friends in this job, how he manages to, how the friends manages to bring his friends to do his job and still get gifts for allowing them to do his job. So this is one thing you have to remember. Another major incident you need to remember from this is Tom's witnessing the murder of Dr. Robinson, and then how he saves Muff Potter from the charges of Dr. Robinson. Third thing which you need to remember is Tom's love for Becky and how he manages to woo her through several tricks that he does. Next major thing we need to remember is Tom's being on the Jacob's Island and Tom's stay in McDouglas cave, his experience in that cave and at the Jacob's Island, that you need to remember. And you'll be able to make a character sketch of Tom Sawyer through these stories. if you remember all the stories in brief. Similarly, for Huckleberry Finn, you need to remember that he was a son of a town drunkard. He was an outcast. He was not liked by the society. He was actually considered to be a bad influence for the other children in the society. How he witnessed that murder along with Tom, but see, Tom transformed. He decided to stand to support Muff Potter, but Huckleberry Finn didn't. So that is the difference in these two characters. Huckleberry Finn's transformation can be seen when we see Widow Douglas's case, where she is saved by the intelligence used by Huckleberry Finn. He goes and informs, and thus she is saved. Similarly, you can be even asked about the relationship of Tom with Aunt Polly. These are certain questions which you need to prepare from the whole novel. I hope I have satisfied you through this lecture. I hope I have given enough details to you to prepare for this topic. From the exam point of view also, I hope I have discussed every character which is important in this novel. It was really wonderful talking to all of you. Thank you so much.
SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.